Super 16, it's the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias, Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies, college ball, he's a stoop. Ranking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time, my team riding off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist. Going over college teams like a busy scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on the show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best. From the ACC to the SEC, Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like the clock? Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 10 of the Super 16 poll show with myself and, of course, my sidekick, Phil Atoshian. And we almost had a good week, huh, Phil? We almost had a good Sunday?
Yeah, we almost had a good Sunday. Monday.
Almost. I'm sorry, good Monday. Good Monday, almost.
Yeah, it's one of those nights, Chris, you'll never forget. I know you lived a few of those in your lifetime.
Unfortunately.
Did you ever get to the point where you felt like the officials were in somewhat control of the game? Not in a good sense, but you were on that end where everything was going the other team's way?
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but at the end of the day, I mean, there's 1,000 plays in the game, and you're talking about one play. But again, I mean, I couldn't believe the reffing for that game. I mean, I was even texting you like,
yeah,
did I miss something? Because what the hell happened there?
I've watched you play. I've never shied away from my truth. I loved Chris Zorich in my youth. Watching you were like your story is one with which I can relate to, being the underdog kind of. So
sure.
Following the Chicago Bears, and you happen to be in those chapters.
A couple of 4-12 seasons, sure.
Right. I remember being frustrated in some cases. And more recently, I remember when Alshon Jeffrey was a rookie, and they called 2 offensive pass interference penalties in this game, and I never had seen that, and it was bogus. And of course, it was against the Packers. That being said, since that Alshon Jeffrey game, I've never felt like so disheartened. Some fans, Chris said on BHL last night, it reminded you of those refs and Remember the Titans.
Wow. Right.
That honestly felt. Listen, there's a moment in this game, Bears fans, I'll never forget. It's Justin Fields standing there playing like a warrior and taking a few cheap shots versus almost like, here's me, here's Chris right there, like next to each other. Here's Ben Roethlisberger throwing and getting hit at the same time, and a flag's coming out right to the point where the rookie question. Did you see that quote?
Yeah.
Justin goes, well, if Ben is getting the why aren't I? And I think I'm going to call it the why aren't I game, because I'll never forget how I felt last night after the game. It was disheartening. Some people were like, you look like you were going to cry. And I was like, I almost It's not like a cry sad, Chris.
Right.
It's
It's
like
just
one
all
of
the
the
frustration, like,
yes.
how? Like, why?
Why? Like, why? Like, the integrity of the football for me and you. I know we have not talked about this, but I know I could speak for you too. It felt worse than a loss.
Sure.
You know, the refs made it that. And I think the NFL and their ignorance made it even worse because you know what, Chris? They're saying, oh, well.
Right.
And there's nothing worse than an oh, well.
Right.
If you've ever been on the end of the oh, well, the other
Right,
guy's like, oh, well. Slap
right,
on
like,
him. Hey.
not
I've
that
done this
bad,
more.
you know.
It's not that bad.
Right.
Tomlin's like, oh, I agree with the call. Exactly. Of course you did.
But
And
it's just it's crazy because when you think about it, and I think we actually had a thought of the day when we talked about this, and it was, I believe now the refs are full time, but for a while there, and I was part of the union, and one of our main points was that we wanted full time refs. I mean,
yes.
These guys literally are part-time guys. You know, they had other gigs. And so, you know, I mean, who knows, you know, and they're supposed to get into the town a couple days beforehand, watch a little film. I mean, these guys have jobs, they got families, and you know, and whereas you have like the NBA, those guys were always full-time. And so just one of those things where it's like, you know, you have this multi-billion-dollar product that you protect, you know, every which way, but I mean, right, exactly. I mean, with everything.
The Avengers are out there.
Right, exactly. And then all of a sudden you put in the hands of some part-timers.
Chris.
Like, you know,
that are
it just evolves.
They're all like professionals. So lawyers, a doctor, a retired golf pro, whatever that.
Exactly.
Right? They're out there. And it's so backwards. We could do a whole show together, me and you, just about the officiating and that whole. But you're 100% right. And my uncle, God bless him, Sam Rutigliano, said, when I asked him about why aren't refs full time, he's like, we've been fighting that fight forever. And he made a great point that I've never shared. I'll share it here. He said, when our fight was when you're not full time under the guise of this is your job, then other people and friendships and everything else leak into it when you're part time. So you could be an attorney who's got a buddy who's a judge who loves the Dallas Cowboys.
Right, exactly.
Right. And all of a sudden, your view of the Cowboys might change a little bit.
Right.
And that, listen, you're a part of a fraternity, of Notre Dame. You're an alma mater, alumni. You're alumnus. You have a loyalty there. On this show, you've shown that you can go beyond that bias, that you look at this really great. Not everybody's Chris Zorich.
Sure.
And that is why the long road to get to the point that I believe you're right. Like it would alleviate you're watched under the guise of being a full-time official.
Right.
How are you performing? Are you missing the offensive pass interference call that you should have made? Are you calling it wrong? Can we watch tape not on one day that you're supposed to, and then you're going out?
Right.
So,
well, but then also, I mean, the frustrating part, and it's not every time, but you know, oftentimes when they throw to the guy who's in New York, who's in front of like 50 cameras and he's watching everything, right? He's a pastor. He's a retired official, and 9 times out of 10, when you're watching him, he's actually going. Now, very few times have I seen him take the opposite view of the person on the field because you know there's a bias because that's his guy.
That he's
right?
protecting him.
And he's right. He has to protect
Protect
the
his
ref.
boy.
Right, exactly. And so that's the frustrating thing. It's like, well, wait a minute. You guys put this person in New York in front of 20 cameras or 20 TVs. He has all the views. Hey, Phil, what do you think in New York? Well, it kind of looks like holding to me. It's like, dude, really?
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow. And so it's frustrating to the point where until you're able, and again, we said this before a couple weeks ago, we have enough technology, and somebody even said, like, put a chip at both ends of the ball or something like that,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been saying that for years.
If we can put a hockey puck, or if you can, who I can't, I'm not a big hockey fan, but if you can put like a flash or something in the hockey pucks, and I know it didn't work, but it was kind of cool because now I can see the hockey puck go, because before I couldn't.
Yeah.
Come on. Something to be done.
You bring up the hockey puck, they put a chip in there. So once it crosses that red line in the net, the buzzer goes. They've incorporated the technology.
Well, I was talking about that old school technology with the head.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Thing where
the red light, so you could follow and track that puck that's going.
I think that lasted like a year, or like half a year or something like that. I'm like, that's too confusing. Get out of here.
Looks like Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. We got a bit of breaking news.
What's that?
Bradley Wendling is calling him Aaron Fraudgers. They get an $18,000 fine for their lie.
Oh, 18. Okay. All right,
he does. So that's Aaron gets 18. We were just talking about this. The Owells versus.
There you go.
This is an Owell. And then the Packers get a $300,000 fine. But no suspension for Aaron. Pretty boy Aaron.
That's
by the way, is this a taunt every time he does it? Is there a flag for that? I mean, would you be pissed?
Or how about that? Or how about when he said, I effing own you guys? I mean,
exactly. Is that a taunt, Chris? I mean,
or apparently mind control with the punter as he's walking across the field.
My God!
And honestly, I think the dude was trying to move out the way so he could see what the call was for special teams.
Oh my God!
He's kind of like, and then all of a sudden it was like, it was so bad, dude. And that's when, as a coach, where you got to say, well, wait a minute, what's fair? I mean, I think there should be like a button to the commissioner's office and say, hey, can we pause this because this is bullshit. I mean,
that changed the whole game.
Or have a conversation with the ref and see that this is the problem, right? Is that they can't necessarily back it up, right? So it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. What did you see? And then, I mean, if it gets that bad, go up to the guy who apparently he supposedly said something to. I mean, it's just, we have enough cameras.
Listen, that was exactly what I said in my rant. It is a guy in Tony Karenti who once I saw him, Chris, as my son could, if he was up, I would bring him down here. What did Daddy say when that guy came up? Oh my God, we're in for a long game with this guy as the ref. I swear to God. And my son, he is like photographic memory. So he would quote me verbatim. And I saw it. What it is an ego saying, okay, he as an older gentleman is saying, where are the lines of taunting? I think you staring out like Jack on the Titanic, looking at the bench saying, hey, you cut me in like these are men that, you of all people. Yeah. Do you know what it's like? No one does except Chris to get to the quarterback and make a sack that changes the tide of the game.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And here's this kid. He does his karate kick for the last 9 years.
Right? That's awesome.
There's no taunting in the karate kick. Right? But the guy standing like Jack from Titanic looking out, that Tony's starting supposedly. Now, I've watched Tony for years. He's always here. He's always here. Like, he's, what's his name? Buffalo Bill in the ready to. He's always there. Jeez. So anyway, this is like a movie. He's thinking about it now. So the kid comes back, and Tony and the NFL are full of crap. This is a family show. He totally pushes back into the kid. And you know what, Chris? Once there was contact, there's no coincidence here. The yellow piece of tissue comes flying up, and he's looking at him. So if Jack from the Titanic's your taunt,
Right.
you throw the flag right then and there.
Right.
That's the NFL. Play a doctor on TV, but I'm gonna make sure that my doctorate is saying it's laws of humanity. Issue, penalty. Just like the ref. Issue with Ben. Oh, you hit him too hard. Penalty. Justin knocked 3 seconds late, hitting the helmet, hitting the back, falling down, laying there like no flag. So I can't make this up if I even tried, but every week we do it here on the Super 16 Pole Show. With Chris Zorich. We open up the show. Transition. Yes, we open up the show. Chris brings me in under his wing. What was that? Did you ever know? Who was that? Who was that?
You're about to break that down. Bette Midler, the whole bunch
Bette Midler.
Hey, man.
Yes. Zorich for the win. Bette Midler. I'm under his shadow. He is my hero tonight. He is breaking down his top 16. We always open. What happened with the Bears? Every week, this guy calls upon me. I got to step up in the pocket and deliver. And tonight, I think you helped me, Chris. You were the doctor. You gave me a little therapy because I didn't think we'd be able to laugh about this. And I'm sure tomorrow I'll be back to being angry about it. But tonight, you did a great job bringing me out of the doldrums. And then the chat room is abuzz with the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers.
Unbelievable. Well, okay.
Slap on the wrist, Chris. Talk about this, Chris.
I don't want to judge anybody's, vaccinated or not or whatever. But please tell me you saw him on ESPN's McCaffrey show when he was on his podcast. Okay,
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the clip.
But you saw when he said, I talked to one of my guys. He said, "Well, who's that? Joe Rogan." And dude, Pat was like this. And he was trying so bad not to laugh. It was like, what are you quoting Joe? I mean, come on, man.
Why are you?
Hey, man, he's Mr. Podcast. I watch his podcast. I think amazing. What he's done, what he's created with Spotify is absolutely terrific. But is he the guy I'm going to go to for some advice about some doctor stuff?
I have no idea.
But dude, McKay, that was the best part of the whole show.
I thought the most embarrassing was the use of Martin Luther King. Dude. How are you using that to coincide?
Straight, man. Come on, man.
Listen, I'm going to be able to talk about that tomorrow. I don't want to get a political thing storm. Sorry. But you're 100% right.
It's hilarious.
It is.
It's hilarious.
It's almost Bette Midler-esque at this point. It's like, what are they doing over there in Green Bay?
And I guess the last thing I'll say is that I wonder how it would have been if it would have been one of the NFL rebels, one of the guys that have bucked the system.
Oh my God.
For so long.
Total different.
What would have happened at that point, right?
We all know that though, Chris. That's the frustration. It's like that kid in high school that's the most gifted athlete. He does something, it's overlooked, but the other kid, it's not. And maybe me and you have lived that before, but I think we have the unbiased understanding that we wouldn't allow that to happen.
Right.
And the NFL still in their old boy network type way will turn a blind eye to the superstar. They'll turn a blind eye to their figure. What do we call him right now? They're the face of their, he's the former MVP.
Absolutely.
So we're going to protect him, even though he lied, manipulated, and is talking his way out of it.
I was immunized. Immunized? What
immunized. It's immunized. A new.
What's that? Is that like a third option?
That's when you go into a haunted house and you're scared. I'm immunized.
I'm immunized. Hey.
We come up with this right on the go. It was worth the conversation, though.
Yes, it is. And I guess
it's like a soap opera, Chris.
Yes, it is.
The NFL, the Bears, the Packers.
As the world turns, as the NFL turns. Can you see that on the screen? It says that.
Yes. I don't know why. I'm texting
the
Shane
folks may have lost it. So
only on TTNL Facebook, there's an issue, and I'm trying to fix it. We're having trouble streaming. This may be an issue on Facebook's end.
That's very true, because
that's what it says.
Had like a big old blackout this morning, this morning, and it was crazy.
You were telling me.
Yes, and of course, like at Comcast, I'm like, really, is it going to happen again? I mean, after I have like the 100-foot cord and
the 100-foot cord is it plugged in tonight?
Of course, come on, man. That's how I roll now. It's in the basement with my dogs, and I got a strong. If I would show you, you would die laughing. Like literally, it's connected to.
I had to do the same shit. I have my 112-foot gold T whatever the fuck cable.
You got a gold one now. Nice.
Yeah, I had a gold. I had to upgrade to the gold. I'm selling it if anybody's interested. It's like 11 cents. Let's look at last week's poll, Chris.
How about that? All right.
Last week.
Yes, and the Ole Miss. Auburn was in there. A lot of these teams didn't do too well. At Notre Dame, we had Michigan, Baylor, Oklahoma State at 10, Texas A&M at 9, Wake Forest, the exciting, wonderful team this year, number 8, Michigan State, Oregon at 6, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Ohio State, 2, Alabama, and 1, Georgia. It's going to be an exciting week this week, man, because it's just there were some games, man. I'm gonna pull you in. They're hilarious. Mainly Cincinnati, but dude, I cannot wait to talk about Cincinnati. All right, so let's talk about number 16.
Number 16?
Yes.
Are you talking about this team?
Number 16, BYU.
Oh, we are going to have a blast today. I could tell already. So these guys return, considering they had some issues. They're out for a couple weeks. Return after beating Idaho State. Again, one of those have to win. Obviously, they will win those games. But again, let's remember BYU. They were independent, and so a lot of these games they've been all over the board, right? So you would think that their next game at Georgia Southern. You would think that would be a bye game for a big school like BYU, but they have to travel all over the country because they're not in a conference. So that's the interesting thing. The offense gained over 1,000 yards, which is a good thing. They just need to keep on rolling, and they'll have a chance to go to hopefully a good bowl game. They travel well, so folks will like them. So they have to impress their eventual Big 12 brothers. So that's the reason why they're actually doing so well. So let's move to number 15.
Number 15, Iowa.
Now you might say, Chris, they were actually at 14 last week. How did they drop one? Well, they played Northwestern, and the score was 17-12. I want to say enough said. But, Phil, I know we've been talking about Iowa all year long. So
Iowa.
I mean, come on, man. What the hell's going on with Iowa still?
I don't get it, Chris.
17-12, Northwestern.
Number 3 team at one point in the country. Again, can that corner be the impetus of this whole? I
Yeah, I
don't.
don't think so. No, I don't think so.
So, yeah, the struggles continue, I believe, because if you take the running game away from Iowa, it forces them to throw the football where this quarterback has been erratic. Now, I believe they switched to another quarterback last week. I didn't get to see the Northwestern game. I just saw the highlights. So how I know the kid is staying in at quarterback,
Right.
but it is what it is. Iowa just continues to disappoint in those big, dominant moments. I know you take a lot of heat, especially from Shane, about your Notre Dame team and yada, yada, yada. But say what you want. Notre Dame has had to step up in those moments. Iowa always finds a way to lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to. And that's been since Hayden Fry. I think he was the last coach really to push them across, get them to where they needed to go.
Wow.
Historically, Iowa, who the Steelers took Iowa's uniform. I don't know if you know that story.
I thought it was reverse. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's Steelers took from Iowa. Yeah. And they used the black and yellow based on Chuck Noll.
Yes. And actually, the reason why I know that, because I saw one of the YouTube videos of when they do like a showcase on their equipment program.
Yep.
And then they actually talked about it.
That's interesting.
Really interesting.
It's just like 500 degrees of separation.
How about that?
It's amazing.
All right. However,
Iowa.
The positive thing about Iowa is, and this is surprising, they're the number one team in the West Division, which is...
This is interesting, Chris.
Yes, exactly. And they play a Minnesota team, a possible Big Ten champ, but they play a Minnesota team who they were on a roll. They wound up losing to Illinois.
I know. And they just gave the coach that extension.
A nice rowing the boat to like a 7-year deal or something like that. Hey, man.
Well, he was one of the guys I was thinking of. Like, he gets good at Minnesota, then he'll bounce. Speaking of that, did you see Deion Sanders is interviewing for TCU?
That's interesting. I did not see that.
So apparently he's like the leader in the clubhouse to get that job.
Okay, that's really interesting. But go ahead.
But there he is starting to build HBCU back up. And we talked about this last week. And now you're going to turn around and go for the money?
See, this is what happens, right?
This is the oh well. This is the oh well.
Exactly what it's the other oh well. Oh well.
Oh well.
Hey,
your son committed to Jackson State.
Right.
Oh well. I'm going to TCU. He can come to TCU. That's what he's gonna say.
Get in the portal. I got the whole team get in the portal. Come on, guys.
He's gonna be portal this way. He's gonna do that Deion dance down TCU.
But it's an attraction of a Division I program.
You called it.
Well, but also, I also lived it though, because I was fortunate enough to be a Division I athletic director at a school that was just having some real challenges. Mm-hmm. And I know I went into it, and this is at Chicago State. I went into it knowing fully well what I had to do, and I thought that I had the experience. I thought I had the background. I thought I had the support behind me. And it was a lot. And so when you are in that situation and your ego kind of takes over a little bit, so, Deion figures, hey, man, it's my first time coaching. I won some games, against Tennessee State or against, whoever, Howard. I mean, I don't know who they play. So, yeah, I can coach on that level.
This is going to be interesting, Chris.
I'll tell you what's also interesting, and we're actually going to get to the person, is Baylor. Baylor just hired – no, I'm sorry, not Baylor. TCU.
The same job.
I'm sorry. Not TCU. Texas Tech.
Texas Tech
They
hired
just
the
hired the Baylor
OC.
assistant. My
Yeah.
bad.
Yes.
Okay,
You got it.
that happened like during the season. I mean, this
It's
season's
happening
crazy.
overnight.
This is crazy. They just hired him like Sunday or something like that.
Exactly. What did they have?
Crazy.
2 interviews? Are McCaskey's running this?
Wow.
What is going on?
I guarantee you there was no Rooney Rule in that situation, right?
No, there wasn't.
Probably not. Huh?
Totally isn't. Does the NCAA even have that?
They do not. And for a long time, they've been fighting for it. So what we're
Really?
talking about with the Rooney Rule, I mean, everybody obviously knows, but they have to at least interview a person of color or in minority. And they've had, and I only know this because I've seen the books. I mean, there's books and books of assistant coaches, former head coaches. I mean, everybody who wants to get into coaching, they literally have there's like this coaching Bible, and so you have it in there. And there's all types of computer programs and everything else, but it's interesting how fast that happened.
Yeah,
and
disappointing actually.
Yes, yes it is. All right, well, what's not disappointing is number 14.
Number 14, Ole Miss.
Now they move up 2 spots after they had a chance to beat Liberty, and there's kind of a little controversy here because Ole Miss, their football department, some kid on social media threw out some posts that talked about the coach at Liberty, which is Hugh Freeze, kind of some really kind of unsavory. It wasn't anything bad, but it was some unsavory situation. So of course they had to go and apologize about all that. What I think is going to be interesting is their next game against Texas A&M. I think that's going to be, it'll be at A&M. I'm sorry. It's going to be at Ole Miss. And actually, College Game Day is going to be there. So it's going to be kind of interesting. So who knows? That may be one of the top 5 matchups. Who knows? Let's go to number 13.
Number 13, Purdue.
Purdue, welcome back to the Super 16 poll. This is crazy. However, I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but they're currently at 13, and a whole bunch of people give me a lot of crap because I told my buddies, and I was even texting Phil. I was like, dude, I got to rank these guys. Why do I have to rank them? Because even though they're 6-3, but here's the thing. Look at the teams that beat them. So you jump in here. Notre Dame, 27-13. Minnesota, 2013, Wisconsin, 2013. So they're not like getting whooped.
Right.
Something's going on over there because they can come out and play against these huge teams. They played against everybody's favorite,
Iowa.
Well, yeah, a couple weeks ago. Everybody's favorite,
Michigan State
with Coach Tuck.
Coach Tuck, Mel Tucker.
Everybody's excited. And
Thought it was going to be a blowout.
They shit the bed. I mean, and it's interesting though because the quarterback for Purdue threw up over 500 yards. Now, our guy, well, I'll have a chance to talk about when we talk about Michigan State, but I just think that's kind of, I mean, I want to give Purdue the respect they give because, again, I know a lot of people might not have them in their polls, but they probably have the 2 biggest wins of any team.
Right. That is the argument Chris gave me when I asked him. He's like, they beat at the time. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and this is where I think the writers' poll doesn't incorporate. You got to look at the time with which you play a team. Who's the hot team at the time? Injuries, absolutely. All of that stuff affect COVID as well, affect teams and their performance. At the time, Iowa was number 3. At the time, Michigan State was number 3. Can't just say, oh, now that they lost to Purdue, they're not good. That is why I love what Chris is doing here, because he's keeping it 100. So I like the Purdue. I'll be surprised if the other poll comes out and has Purdue in the top 20.
That'd be interesting. That'll be interesting.
I'm going to be interested to see how they do it.
And if we play our cards right, we actually might be on the air when that show, so we could actually comment about that. So let's cross our fingers. Last thing I wanted to say, and I know you didn't know this, Purdue has won. They're tied for number 1 in the West. That's 6-3.
There you go.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Got to evaluate the teams that are in the West, though. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at number 12.
Number 12. Wake Forest.
I'm sorry it's the end of your dream season. I am so sorry, but after allowing 55 points, what do you think you're going to do? I mean, this is not the Big 12. It's supposed to be the ACC where you actually play a little bit of defense, but apparently not. But they dropped 4 spots to number 12 after losing to UNC 58-55. That was kind of crazy. However, being 8-1, again, still kind of a great season for them. I thought we weren't going to see the loss until the end of the season, which when they were going to play Clemson, and Clemson was going to have a chance to kind of prove themselves and dominate. However, they're still number 1 in the ACC, which Phil, I'm sorry to have you kind of running back and forth here, but I mean, how strong is the ACC if Wake is your strongest team?
That's not very strong after that performance. Again, you were seeing them on a whirlwind tour, like Muhammad, my man.
There you go.
Like Tribe Called Quest lyric in here. And you gotta, it was an award tour. People are gonna be upset. But Wake Forest is showing you they're doing something historically they never done. So they're trying to establish themselves as the contender, which they were.
Sure.
Until, like we said, again, if you go back to last week, and I was proud of Chris because you were all over it. You were saying, well, these have been the pillars. You know, North Carolina has been an obstacle. Can't have a letdown. We got to see. You got to overcome these to become the Clemson. You got to set that tone.
Exactly.
And they did not do that. They did not do that this past Saturday. And I was pulling for them.
Oh, who wasn't? You know, everybody wants to kind of witness, you know, a great season. And I mean, will they have a chance? Are they the type of team that can go out and get pissed off and play against a good North Carolina State team next week? I think that'll be a true test. Again, keeping the momentum going is one thing, but now being able to kind of bounce back from some adversity is another. But let's see how they do. I don't know if they're going to be equipped with that. I don't know if these guys are going to go in their shell, you know, and hey, the season's over with, you know, blah 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 blah. I mean, that's a huge priority that the head coaches are going to have to try to really kind of combat that. So it's going to be kind of interesting. So that's why I'm kind of looking forward to that game. So let's take a look at. I'm sorry.
That's a great point. I just want to re-emphasize that you got to see how they respond. How do you respond? Aloha, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? So now we know it is like 3:00 in the afternoon over there. See, it's not
exactly.
It's not like Thursday there. So,
exactly. They're not in the future.
They're not in the future, which I thought they were.
Michael J. Not Michael Jordan. Michael J. Fox.
There you go.
Bullets knew that.
All right, let's go to number 11.
Number 11, Michigan State University.
All right, everybody. This is everybody's exciting team. Phil, I know we talked about him. This was top 3, top 2, possibly top Heisman. I mean, this was kind of, you can go on and on and on. These guys dropped 4 spots to number 11. Now, interestingly, if people my boys gave me a hard time. They're like, Chris, man, what are you doing? Like you know, the college football playoff. I mean, they got them at number 3. You know, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, man, look, we all play football. We all know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the guys on the CPF, they're not involved in football, but I mean, I didn't think these guys were that great. And if you could see, I mean, even last week, I mean, they were 7 and CFP had them at 3.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, do your thing. What happens? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but what happened? They wound up shitting the bed to a what? I mean, people are gonna say it's a mediocre team, but right now they're Purdue's 1, in the West, and and I jumped on the bandwagon for a little bit. Kenneth Walker, he had like 130 yards. They were able to shut him down. It's hard against Michigan, gets 5 touchdowns.
Exactly.
This one, they're able to shut him down, which I thought was interesting. But they have a chance now to kind of lick their wounds, and they're going to go out and dominate Maryland, right? I mean, I hate to be Maryland at this point because they're upset. Not only they're upset that they lost, but they lost to a Purdue team. So now that these guys in practice are going to be pissed. Maryland's going to come out there, and they're just going to get walloped.
That looks like par for the course here. It's going to be interesting. Maryland has not played good football this season, so this is the get right game.
There you go.
And if they don't get right, they're going to be dropping more in the Super 16 poll.
Well, here's what's also interesting. I got a lot of crap from people about Michigan being ranked higher than Michigan State.
Yeah.
How about that?
Did Michigan lose?
Pardon me, no. Michigan did not lose because. Well, hold on. Let's kind of hit the pause button for Michigan.
Let's hit the pause.
All right, let's hit the pause button for Michigan, and let's take a look at number 10.
Number 10, Notre Dame.
All right, Notre Dame. You might as well just stay up here because we got a lot of stuff talking about this. Okay, so now let's just start the controversy, right?
They're back.
So now here's the thing. I had to do some research, man.
Yeah.
So this is the first time Notre Dame's been in the top 10, Phil, since when? Since what week?
I think week 3 or 2. Week 1? When did you have them?
Week one. They were 7. How about that?
Look at you.
How about that?
There's no bias. Chris Zorich speaking truth.
Hey, man, just like the lyrics, right?
It's just like the lyrics.
Just like the lyric. But it's amazing because now here's the controversy. Well, Cincinnati only beat Navy by 3 points or something like that, or a touchdown or something like that. And then Notre Dame beats the crap out of Navy 34-6, but then Cincinnati beat the crap out of Notre Dame. So this one starts getting crazy, football. Man. This is the reason why I love college football, because all this crazy stuff happens.
It's in football period. All of this stuff happens. It's crazy. Like people, I think we get to a fantasy football and video game world with most of fandom. And I'm just keeping it honest, that they think, okay, Iowa beat Michigan. That means Penn State will be, not that they did. I'm just throwing names out there. That's not how football works. No. There's game planning. There's scouting. There's, hey, well, you hope there's game planning. In Chicago, we have our questions.
We have our doubts.
Listen, it is a showcase here of just how great the game is, but also how good these coaches are and matchups. One team might match up perfectly against Florida. The next team playing Florida, even though they're ranked 12 in the Super 16, they might look like they don't even belong. That is why this football game is the greatest game right there. One of the most important things.
I agree 1,000%, and it's just it's frustrating though, because as a ND fan, you want to do well all the time, right? And there's going to be situations. I mean, everybody's going to come into Notre Dame, play differently. However, huge kudos to the defensive coordinator, Marcus Freeman. He held Navy, I think, to like 184 yards total offense, which I don't care who you are. You could be Alabama playing Navy. Those guys are going to run. And
exactly.
They are going to get some yards, and Notre Dame was able to kind of shut them down. And our guy, Jack Cohen, who's the quarterback that everybody hates for Notre Dame,
I don't know why.
Threw up like 270 yards, so he had a good game. I'm really interested to kind of see where the CFP is going to put Notre Dame, because at this point, they're starting to close them in. Last week they were at where did they have? They had them at 7. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they have them, and some teams before the number 7 have fallen. So I'm kind of interested to kind of see
that
where
comes on at 9, right?
Yes, it does.
8 your time.
Yes, it does. That's why I'm looking at the clock over there. So that there's actually I got it going on right now. ESPN's in back. You cannot see it, but they're
you can give us updates.
They're playing a hoops game, which I think is exciting because it's Kansas against Michigan State. And right now,
this is basketball started?
Yes, it is, man. Hey, man, this is how they do it. So this kind of pissed me off a little bit. But in order to get enough exposure during the second week, and this happens since the CFP started, the second week is when they actually go a little later, because they do it in between the 2 big games. So there's these 2 huge games, two huge basketball games they got going on. So that's kind of
these real games, like
they're the real college football games, college basketball games. Yes,
this
sir.
is kicked off the start of the season,
and
wow,
with good teams like Duke is gonna play. Like I said, Kansas, Michigan State going on now. So this is
actually going to be going to see Purdue, North Carolina.
And
here in Connecticut.
See, there you go. Watch out.
Greg Braggs is flying out with me.
Oh, nice. Look at you, man. You're like the world traveler.
I'm here. I'm going. No, I'm driving him.
You're having experiences that the rest of us are not.
Okay. Well, you're more than welcome.
However,
setting up experience.
One of my goals is to get to a women's UConn basketball
game.
Yes, I'm a huge Juno fan. Oh my god, dude!
I can get you that.
Love watching those guys, man. I mean, like literally, when Notre Dame, when the women's team are number 1, UConn was number 1. I love it because they're a dynasty. I mean, he does it. Kids don't want to go there. They transfer because he's hard on them. And he's like, goodbye. I don't care. Let's go. Somebody else is going to step up. And all those girls are so disciplined. They hate him while he's there. While they're there, just like I hated Lou when I was there. Then afterward,
you love him.
Love him. Unbelievable.
Because you realize
the best out of you.
Exactly.
That was my little
I love the fact
women's college basketball rant, which I actually love that. And I do have to admit, and I know my guys in Notre Dame, they're going to laugh because they know what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
I actually love women's college basketball better than I do men's.
Really?
Because I'm obviously not a basketball player. I'm not an athlete. I never grew up playing basketball, so I have no idea what I'm doing. But I love watching the women's game because they can't dunk.
Right.
I mean, it's more discipline, takes precision. They're running plays, and I'm able to kind of watch them. And so when I was working at Notre Dame, all my guys would give me a hard time because I was actually going to all the women's games, and they were like, dude, are you ridiculous? So we were going to men's. It was hilarious. So all my guys know that I am a huge women's basketball fan. I went so off topic there. I am so sorry.
Hey,
so our next opponent for Notre Dame is Virginia, which they need to dominate again. They need to keep winning, keep rolling so we can go higher and higher. But I'm keeping my eye on the time there to see what's going on with the CFP. So let's go to number 9.
Number 9, Michigan.
And Phil, you need to stand for this one too, because again, a little bit more controversy.
There we go. Waiting
for that one. Because people ask, Chris, why is Michigan ranked higher than Michigan State when Michigan State beat Michigan. And all I have to do is there's a small school in West Lafayette called Purdue.
Purdue.
Which Michigan did not lose to. An unranked team. They actually beat the unranked team they played, which is also from Indiana, but that's a whole different story. So how do you justify Michigan not being – so, again, I'm so curious to find out where Michigan State is
on there
for the CFP. Yes.
On the CFP.
Because, I mean, think about
For
this.
those wondering what that acronym is, it's the College Football Playoff Committee.
Correct.
Or the College Football Playoffs. That's their poll.
And they became the god of polling and ranking, right? So everybody has their own polls. Like we got Super 16, everything else. And as soon as these guys come on the scene, bam, they just drop the gauntlet. You know,
trying
it's like, okay, hey,
take over.
Guys. Well, and they can because
they're the Biggie Smalls of polls, I'll tell you.
Yes, because they walk in and say, this is now they're the Suge Knight of polls, right? They walk in and say, this is ours. So
this is ours.
Y'all got what you got. This is ours. So that's the reason why we all kind of bow down to the CFP. But much respect, but again, I can't wait to see what's going on with them. So, so they have Penn State, which I'm a little nervous about now, right? Because it's going to be at Penn State. We talked about this before, and I'm sure they're going to. In this, they may
hate
another
going to Penn
whiteout.
State.
I hate it, but if they have another whiteout, this is going to be their third whiteout, which I would assume they would do it for.
They have to
a highly ranked team. Come on, right?
God. Especially with Harbaugh, he's like, you know, it's almost like Saban coming to town.
Exactly.
Like, he carries that energy.
Of course.
And I think, you know, when I talk, so many people ask me, who do you want instead of Nagy? And I always lead with Harbaugh because that kind of energy, that kind of personality that's kind of bigger than the team, he like takes ownership and pressure. That's what Ditka did for his Bears. And I think that's the way the Bears have to go. But that's what's going to happen, I believe. Whiteout at Penn State this week. And that's going to be a great game. I wonder if it's on Chris's top 5 games this week. I just wonder.
Let's wonder. Let's see if that is. Who knows? All right. Let's take a look at number 8.
Number 8, Oklahoma State.
Okay, folks. This is another one, a real exciting one, because they have a chance to kind of win it all, right? So let's talk about a couple of things here. So they smashed West Virginia, they're kind of okay, but the Oklahoma State's defense had 8 sacks. They were rolling, and West Virginia didn't get 100 yards until the fourth quarter. So their defense was playing well. They could actually win out. So this is the frustrating part about it. The next 2 opponents, TCU, then Texas Tech. Well, TCU doesn't have a coach right now. Texas Tech just hired their coach like literally 48 hours ago. So technically they do not have a coach. This guy's from Baylor, and the agreement's probably going to be, hey, I got to finish my responsibilities up to Baylor. I'll come recruit, do some stuff. But that's kind of the way it's probably going to work out. So these guys are going to win their next 2 games. Again, no coach. Now, what's their last game? Well, you know what it is. Bedlam. Oklahoma. So now, Oklahoma State, you know what that's going to happen. Oklahoma's ranked high. Oklahoma State's in the top 10. Folks, it's going to be a huge game. So that's exciting. Now, the sad thing about it, again, is the next 2 games probably won't mean a lot. But, again, they have to win those games because even though they don't have coaches, they have to win them in order to get to the promised land. And I think they will because the head coach there is a mullet, and he's not playing around. So let's go to number 7. The other number 7.
Number 7, Cincinnati.
Okay, I'm going to make you jump in here, Phil, because I thought I got scared because I thought I messed something up.
No, I was trying to fix the streaming issue. If you were trying to watch it on the Tape Never Lies Network's Facebook page, it's telling me to remove it and then re-add it, which I just did.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully it's back up there if you're trying to watch it there. That being said, that's why I was scrolling down so fast to get back to
I'm sorry.
the drop. It's okay.
This is what happens when you have a producer that does everything.
Cincinnati.
But I want you in here because
Uh-oh. Do you have
here's
any?
the thing. Dude, this game, man, this is the reason why I lost all faith in Cincinnati. So I don't know if you had a chance to watch the game. I watched it. It was redonkulous. They should have lost.
I couldn't believe
There's
it.
no way. Now, how about this? The quarterback for Tulsa, he got to feel like, I mean, he's probably not going to go to class probably the rest of the year. He may have some issues because he's probably going to get some death threats because he had a chance to win it. And hey man, at that point, you just go in.
Oh my God.
Go in the end zone, right? So again, kid's 20, 21 years old, young kid. It's hard, right? I mean, I can't blame the kid, but I kind of blame the kid because they could have took down this program that is kind of clawing at the CFP kind of rankings there. So it's definitely I definitely want to see where the CFP is going to put these guys because that shouldn't happen. And then they had another chance, and I can't fault the running back here. You're a running back, man. You want to score, you can put that ball out, boom, 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 and fumbles away. I mean, you're trying to do what you can.
Big man fumbling. It was close. What'd you think of the call?
The fumble?
Yeah. Did you think it was?
Yeah.
Did he cross the goal line, or was it a good call fumble?
I mean, I thought it was a fumble.
Okay, that's all. I thought it was a fumble too.
Again, when you're talking about teams being that close, and wait, hold on. Tulsa's 3-5, bro. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. How are you almost losing? Now, see, and here's another thing, right? So this is what I found out. The year we won the national championship, we had a couple of lucky bounces. A couple. Not a lot, a couple.
You always have to.
Cincinnati's had a lot of luck, man. And we never had 2 in one game like they did, right? The quarterback decides to slide and the dude fumbles in the end zone, right? So I think their luck may be running out, man.
That's a sign for Zorich.
I'm just saying. You heard it here first. I'm just saying. The luck may be running out.
Luck may be running out in Cincinnati.
And
the coach was talking smack.
Yes, I forgot about that. Also, the Cincinnati defense gave almost 100 yards rushing to a 3-5 Tulsa team. Man, what's going on? But here's my theory. Okay, it's not Tulsa, it's Cincinnati. These are the teams that are in the AAC. And these are the first times I'm watching them, right? Because I'm watching, Big 12, I'm watching all these other conferences. I don't watch a lot of AAC stuff, but now obviously I am now. We'll see what's going on with Cincinnati. But here's what's going on, right? They're not fooling us. These are the teams that are in the ACC. So this tells you what the kind of competition is in the ACC, and this tells you the kind of competition that Cincinnati is used to, and this is how they play. So if you want to look at the level of competition that Cincinnati is capable of playing, all you got to do is look at the AAC. And you may say, well, Chris, they beat the crap out of Notre Dame. Yes, they did. But I guarantee if they played them again, they probably would. But again, it's that one time out of 10, they'll have a chance to win, and they won when it was important. So I'm not taking anything away from Cincinnati for that game.
Right.
I'm just upset now because I admitted I jumped on the bandwagon. They won after Notre Dame, right? So they were able to get over that hump. It's just now when they're supposed to be putting 60 points up like they were doing against UCF or 50 points against UCF. Now they're putting up – now they're almost losing the game. So that was my college football rant.
I like it. And you're right. Again, If you were wrong, I would debate you.
I would hope so.
But
And
that I agree with.
they're playing next week or Saturday. They're playing a 2-7 USF team. So
2-7.
What's going to happen there? They're going to maybe almost win by a field goal. I mean, come on now.
That is going to affect their rankings.
Yes, it will. It definitely affected mine. So it'd be interesting to see if they were affected by the folks.
We'll see.
College football players.
Will they move them up? I know they were making a big push on game day. Like, oh, I had them ranked 4.
That's because they went to game day. How do you?
Exactly.
How do you go to game day?
You're like hyping up the crowd.
Exactly.
I would never do
3 or 5 team. Is
the
that
producer's like, Phil, we need you to say they're 4. We want the crowd shot here.
Right.
I go, I'm not doing that.
Hey, man, I got a reputation here, man.
Like Coach Leno, whatever the heck. What's his name? Coach Bino. Cook. Like Coach Cook. Take that heat. I ain't putting on the Cincinnati Bearcat hat or whatever.
Well, but here's the thing: if they deserve it, I'm the first one to say, "Hey, I jumped on the bandwagon."
Exactly.
I admitted it, but let's see what's going to happen. And you can't tell me.
Yeah, you can't play like that versus Tulsa.
Come on. So what are they supposed to do against Oklahoma? What are they supposed to do against the Georgia? Now, people, oh well, Chris, you don't remember last year they played Georgia bowl game and they won. Okay, half the guys were drafted in the NFL for Georgia, so they didn't even play in that game. So
exactly.
Okay,
and we said this at the top. Can't do that. It has to go at the time.
Yes.
It's like when I had Mac Jones ranked as my number 2 quarterback in this draft. What? Alabama quarterbacks stink. That's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. How does Alcorn State quarterbacks, how are they doing?
Bingo. There you go.
Well, Steve McNair was pretty good. No, you don't draft them. None of them has made it. It's not how it works.
All right, man. I'm fired up. I'm actually watching there's 15 seconds left, so let's see if we can get this going. So let's look at number 6.
Number 6, Texas A&M.
I'm sorry, I meant to say there's 15 seconds left, not minutes. I'm sorry. So they actually move up 3 spots to number 6. They beat actually at number 15 from last week, Auburn, which I thought it was going to be a tough game. I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. They beat Auburn 20-3. They had those 2 losses, and I think it's Arkansas, some other team, but again, I mean, they're claiming the fame this year is that Alabama win, which was 41-38. So they're going to play in number 14 Ole Miss, which I think there's going to be a lot is going to be riding on this game. So let's take a look at number 5.
Number 5, Oregon.
And I know that my boy was watching the game on ESPN, so that's why he was not. Was that some whiskey you were drinking there, buddy?
That he took my bottle that you gave me, Ivan, and he ended up finding it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I guess that gets another bottle then.
There you go. I
or
guess
another couple.
Friend of the network, Adam Rank on NFL Network, just shouted us out, Chris.
Hey, there you go. TTNL, baby.
TTNL, baby.
Hey.
Super 16. Poe. So,
I like it.
And the Bears. Here we go, Chris. This is big. What are your thoughts here?
This is Oregon, baby. So
are you changing your tune here, Oregon?
No. I've never changed. I mean, I was excited about them until they shit the bed, right? Against Stanford. And it was so interesting watching the comments all week about on ESPN, the CFP folks, where they would rank Oregon. They ranked them high, but they kind of forgot about Stanford, which and I think there may be a little West Coast bias in there because they want to get a West Coast team in there. And this is the perfect year to do it because they play crap teams. What's left, right? So right now, Washington State's next. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think they don't have a coach, if I'm correct.
I believe they don't.
Right, because I think he had that COVID issue. He decided not to get a COVID shot, and he wound up bouncing. So I think they're going to play a team that does not have a coach. So we all know what's going to happen there. All right, so let's go to number 4 because I want to start making sure that we don't miss these picks at the CFP.
Number 4, Oklahoma.
This is going to be a real easy one. They're staying at 4. They had a bye week. However, I'm a little nervous because they're going to play a pissed-off Baylor because Baylor got their butt kicked by a team that doesn't have a coach in TCU. So they lost by 2 points. So that was Oklahoma. But, again, it's going to be an interesting game, Oklahoma-Baylor. So let's take a look at number 3.
Number 3, Ohio State.
All right, they stay at number 3 because they had to beat Nebraska, which they did. It wasn't by a great margin, but they want to do what they're supposed to do, which these teams should actually learn from that. Lovin, the freshman quarterback, Stroud, unbelievable, another 400-yard game.
Mm-hmm.
And create now. The bad thing was the freshman running back only had 92 yards, but I mean, really big deal, right? I mean, you guys are rolling.
Did you watch the game? I mean,
exactly. I mean,
he was just trucking dudes when he did get. I'm like, this game's over. This game's over. I thought there was going to be a moment there that there was going to be a game, and then all of a sudden, that tailback just said no. I'm just going to truck 3 guys. That's the end of that.
And we actually talked about this last week, man. The Ryan Day is doing something over there, right? I mean, he's getting the talent. He's up there with the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons. He's getting that 5-star talent that no one else is getting in the Big Ten.
Yep.
I mean, I don't follow recruiting that much. I know a lot of guys I know who do. I mean, they have to have at least 4 or 5 5-star guys on the team.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because there's no way you could bounce back the way they did. And you know how hard I've been on Ohio State, man, because I think they can do it. And after that loss, they drop, and all of a sudden we saw it. So each and every week, coming up. And now, they're at 3, which is great. So, but again, interesting. They're going to play Purdue in the Big House. I think it's going to be interesting.
Can Purdue do it again?
Yeah, I don't think so. So this is the thing that's going to put everybody. I wanted to give Purdue a little love because I think they deserved it, beating 2 number 3 teams in the country. No one has done that this year, which they deserve some respect. And again, I talked about the other teams that beat them, and I think it was maybe a combination of like maybe 8 or 10, probably less than 10 points. So they're actually a really good team this year, and I'm sure that guy's going to get an extension because he had an amazing year. But I think this is where it stops. I think that they're going to get trucked by Ohio State. Oh, absolutely. I just predicted a demolishing game. Demolished. Because think about it. Ohio State has a chance to kind of prove themselves a really good team because the last ranked team they played was Penn State.
Right.
So
and they lost. No, they won to Penn State. Apologize. Okay. I'm thinking of the other Auburn.
This is the Super 16 poll show. That's okay. All right.
Listen, Purdue, though, you have them on your 13th.
Absolutely. Hey, man.
They've earned it in the Zorich equations, and I back you up here. I gave you a hard time with Clemson.
Yes, you did.
They're gone.
Weekly. Yes, you did.
They're gone. But the eyeball test. Their eyeball test says Ohio State has everything to be making that push that you see. They're getting better every week. Where Iowa looked like they were
Opposite.
getting right.
Okay.
And that's how I see. That's why I saw someone take a shot at you saying you're not so much a heavy shot, but he's like, you're falling for that flavor of the week in Texas A&M, Chris.
That's okay.
They beat Alabama at the time that looked unbeatable.
After 2 losses in a row.
Exactly.
Again, it's week to week.
Zorich goes not by Johnny Tsunami's mathematical equations.
Johnny Tsunami. I like that guy.
He goes by his eyes and his feel for the game. He's played the game. He's a 3-time All-American, former 2nd-round pick of the Chicago Bears.
As you can see, over there you go.
Number 97 in your program.
Hey.
Number 1 in your heart, Chris Zorich.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Are you ready for number 2?
Well, I am ready for number 2, but I just wanted to emphasize one thing. And I do not want to sound like a broken record when I say this, but winning is hard. And that's why after big wins, there could be a huge letdown. And I know it happened to us. I mean, when you win big, you get confident, and you have to be careful of that. And when you have your first, I mean, we had the first loss after we won the national championship. I mean, we were heartbroken.
Right.
I mean, we just weren't supposed to do that. Now, we went on, we were ranked 2 in the country. I mean, we went on a 23-game winning streak that still stands to this day at Notre Dame. So, you know, we know how to do it. So, but that's what I bring and that's why I have so much respect for Alabama, because they've been doing this. They've lost 5 games in the last, 3 years or something like that. Okay. I mean, this is what dynasties do, and they do it well as an example, but I guess we can go on to number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, Alabama.
Now, this game was crazy, y'all. I honestly thought this was going to be Coach O's a swan song game. I thought he was actually going to win this game. Did not understand some of Alabama's play calling. I don't know what's going on with their offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien. I'm not sure, but this game was a lot closer than it was supposed to be. Bryce Young was sacked 4 times. They barely beat LSU 20-14. People say, well, Chris, other teams get beat, or other teams almost beat somebody they're supposed to beat, and you drop them. Okay, but one of the factors is that it's still LSU. So, we're not playing like Tulsa and they barely beat them, and then I drop them 2 or 3. This is still the SEC here. So, and I know I've been accused of an SEC bias, but if they have the talent, then they deserve that respect. So I say that only because I was a little nervous with a minute 40. I didn't understand this part. With a minute 45 left, they wound up giving LSU the ball back again. So now they had no timeouts, and they wound up being able to throw a Hail Mary. And if they would have caught it, they would have wound up winning the game, but they wound up not catching it. So kind of interesting to see where that lies and how the college football playoff committee takes a look at that. And actually, it's coming on right now. They're actually going to do the top 10 in a couple minutes, so I can kind of bring that to you. So let's take a look at number 1.
Number 1, Georgia.
Okay, so Georgia's number 1. They smoked them some Mizzou 34-6. The only comment I'm going to say about this is Mizzou scored a field goal in the first quarter, and in the fourth quarter, that's all they scored. And I said this last week. At that point, The defense only allowed 5 touchdowns and only played 8 games, which means, of course, they played 9 games and still only allowed 5 touchdowns. So this is great. Their defense is sick, and they're actually going to be playing Tennessee the next game. Phil, you want to jump in on here? Because I'm starting to get the
You getting antsy? You getting
I'm trying to
antsy?
get the top 10. So at 10,
I got number.
the
I got-
CFP folks. Oh, you have it?
Yes. Yeah. If you want it, I can read it off to you,
Well, I'm sitting here looking at the TV. I have a TV.
or I can share it. on the
Hey, yeah.
screen.
Why don't we share so we can let our audience check out? Because why would
Okay.
they be
I don't know if
watching ESPN
I don't
when
know
they're
if we-
watching us.
I don't know if we would get in trouble for it. I'm being told by a producer.
Okay, well then let's not do it.
We don't want to. I
in trouble.
can get a picture when they do have that, but I can't share their broadcast. I'm being told.
Okay, well that's fine.
But why don't you read down what you got so
I
far?
would love that. Okay, so right now at 10,
Yes.
the CFP folks have Oklahoma State. which is
Oklahoma State.
Yes. And
Oklahoma
of course,
State.
on our poll, they're 8, but who's counting, right? That's pretty good.
That is.
And then at number 9, they have Notre Dame.
ND.
ND.
Were you expecting them to go up a little bit further with Notre Dame?
I was surprised. Surprised. But again, I mean, they played somebody they're supposed to play. I'm kind of nervous here because I'm still looking at what's going on with Cincinnati, right? Because and Oklahoma State,
the number one
Michigan
now.
State as well. So
They've unveiled number 1.
of course, well, let's all
Which-
take a guess.
Is your number 1 as well?
Hey, how about that?
You're
They
on the
actually know
same
what they're talking
page as them.
about.
Now they're gonna. Oh, do you want to tell them number 2? Number
Well,
2,
of
they've
course, number 2
revealed.
is going to be Alabama, I think.
Well, I have it before you do.
You do.
Number 2, Alabama.
That's great. You can just go off of those guys.
Oh my
we're
God.
probably get thrown off the air for this. You know that, right? We're probably
No, we
violating
can't.
some type of.
We're not,
some
but
type
if
of-
we did show it, we would be.
there we
So
go.
are you surprised with number 3 there?
I am very surprised because number 3 is Oregon, which I'm really surprised. Again, we didn't see, but see, here's this thing that they talk about the head-to-head, right? Because
Right.
for them, number 4 is Ohio State. So they're saying
Yeah.
head-to-head.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, though. Ohio State's loss that they have is to Oregon, which is a better team, yet Oregon's loss to Stanford, which is horrible. So explain that to me.
So they're trying to make this look like Tony Karenti over here throwing a flag. Let's put them in front because head to head they beat them, even though they're not doing the Zorich eyeball, saying, "Hey, losing to Oregon, who's ranked 3 in your poll, is a hell of a lot better loss than losing to Stanford." And this is when you get nerds involved. Pardon me if I'm offending anyone on the CFP. That I'm with you, Chris. Ohio State, if that's your third choice, third or fourth, they got to be over Oregon. They do.
I mean, and again, if we're going on, so again, they got the head-to-head, but if we're going on what
Whoa.
I know exactly. I can't wait to talk about that. What they're saying, I mean, is so then you're saying that the loss to, or I'm sorry, the
The
loss
loss to Stanford's not as bad as
is
losing to you.
I mean, to right, exactly. I mean, really,
That totally contradicts.
exactly,
They're weighing, Chris, head to head as more.
right.
We're playing this like a boxing card now.
Right.
That's what
But
they did.
if I was in the room, I'd raise my hand and say, "Guys, hold up here. Okay, let's look at Stanford. And Stanford's not even ranked anywhere. You know, I mean, that's
exactly. So
that's
the
the hardest
loss in scale, they're also doing what I think is important, though, at the time. They're saying, well, at the time.
right.
So we're not in those rooms, but looking at these two, especially when you're looking at historically the two of them together, they have the common head-to-head. But your point, I think, wins the day, in my opinion, because, okay, we both have one loss. Our loss is to you. Your loss is to Stanford, who
Bingo.
isn't ranked.
Bingo.
And therefore, the scale should be tipped in the favor. But then they're like, well, we beat you.
Right.
So people are going to,
In the
I
beginning,
see.
in the beginning of the year. See,
Yes, that's
and
where me and you are weighing in.
you can't tell me right now if those two teams play that the same result would happen.
Well,
But can we comment on the other ones? Because I'm about to get sick here.
As a non-Notre Oregon alumnus, I think they would have issues with you. Here we go. Purdue and Iowa. Look at them.
Well, I can't see it. Where are they? Where are they?
20 is Iowa, Purdue 19, Wisconsin.
Hey, there you go.
18.
There you go.
17 Auburn, 16 NC State. NC State has a big matchup this weekend, right?
Yes, they do.
So there you go.
Against Wake, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. How is Wake going to handle that 12 rank in the Super 16?
Okay.
I didn't see Wake's ranking on this. I missed it because I was over here. Are they still in the top 15 in the CFP poll?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it either. Shoot. Of course, instead of scrolling it at the bottom,
right.
they're just going to talk to Gary Barta.
Right, exactly. Which is fine, but
Scroll.
he needs to be explaining. So he needs to be
Michigan State 7.
Right.
Michigan 6.
Right.
Cincy is 5.
What? They were 6 last week. You cannot tell me. See, this is bullshit.
They almost lose to Tulsa, and they move up a spot.
How does that happen? And hopefully Gary Bart is talking about that right now, folks, because this is.
If you love college football,
you guys are watching this.
This is where it's all about. It's all about. I think you would see Mrs. Doubtfire pop out of the fridge like, hello.
Oh, my God. I mean,
what are we doing here?
This is crazy. All right. Well, we have them. I don't want to extend the show here, but this kind of first time we had this opportunity. We had kind of
no, it's good.
Able to react to it kind of live, which is cool. But I'm very frustrated in what they've shown, because what did Cincinnati do to allow you to move them ahead of Michigan State?
Yeah. Terrible. I don't get it. I do not understand.
Is it the group of 5 bias now that we're trying to see? I mean, before last week, everybody was complaining, oh, they're not in the top 5 because they were 6 and Ohio State was 5.
Yep.
Amazing. All right.
I know we have this other show coming up.
Yes.
So I
totally forgot. We have to get out of here. So we feel terrible about these guys. So let's want to just put it up.
Let's put it up.
There we go. Okay, so we got BYU at 16, Iowa 15, Ole Miss, Purdue 12, Wake Forest, Michigan State 11, Notre Dame, go Irish 10, 9 we got Michigan, 8 Oklahoma State, 7 Cincinnati, 6 Texas A&M, 5 Oregon, 4 Oklahoma, 3 Ohio State, Alabama, and of course number 1 Georgia. So we got time for the top 5 matchups?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Let's do it.
Who knew?
Top
Number
5
1.
matchups.
I was not following the script. I apologize. So at number 1, we have Oklahoma versus Baylor. big. It's going to be a huge game, huge game. So, of course, we had to talk about this before. Texas A&M at Ole Miss, another big game. And, of course, we talked about Michigan at Penn State, NC State at Wake Forest, and our last one that we talked about is going to be Purdue at Ohio State.
Great list.
Big games.
Big games. It seems like every weekend. Last season, obviously with COVID, you felt like, this is not a great college football weekend. I felt like every weekend, especially with us doing the show, we are getting some great marquee matchups.
Absolutely.
And that's what this is all about. College football. Every week, this guy breaks down the teams in the land, the greatest 16 on the Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich every Monday night. Tonight went Tuesday because the Bears were on, and obviously on TTNL, the Bears take priority.
Yes, they do.
But tonight, Christopher Zorich broke down his top 16, getting you ready. Chris, every week you do this here. We're coming up on the Thanksgiving top 6, or we'll probably do top 10.
Okay,
unless you can go 16.
That's a lot of
16. Pressure. I'll give you 16 then if it's easier. Football.
That's probably not easier.
Might be football movies. And then tonight, Chris, your final thoughts every week. We give you final thoughts with Chris Zorich.
So my final thoughts, and Phil, you can jump in on this actually, because I'm actually being totally honest here.
Yes.
Wanted to kind of show the true reaction to the college football playoff selection committee's results. And I think that's where it gets really interesting, because those are the picks that they go on for bowl games and national championship games. And so having a chance to kind of see where they pick folks, and I can't wait to kind of watch, because of course I taped it, to kind of go back and talk about, to hear what they're saying about those, because that's important, because these folks are going to allow, that's a new graphic, I like that. Because thank you very much, Ron G, for that.
Ronnie G.
Exactly. I'll be posting that one. That's pretty cool.
Well,
it's
you
right
actually sent
it.
it.
I got it.
Look at you. You got
it's the opposite, bro. So this is exciting. I live for this stuff, and for those out there that enjoy it as much as I do, this is like Christmas for me. And having a chance to kind of share it with you is just a little bit more important. We had a chance to kind of do a little live segment. We won't have a chance to do that again, but that's pretty cool, because we have a chance to kind of really understand kind of where they're picking folks and why. So I think that's cool.
You're the best each and every week. Tonight, you got to experience it live. We will be doing more stuff like this with Chris Zorich as we continue each and every Monday night, 8 East, that's 7 Central, and so on and so forth. What time is it in Hawaii, Chris? If we're on
it is 7? Now. It is 4 in the afternoon, so he's just chilling. He's actually almost about to go home and go to work.
He's listening to us on the he's leaving work, listening to us on his ride home.
Daniel, thank you so much. We fully appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate all of you guys. Tomorrow we will be live again. I'll be back, keeping it 100, breaking down the Bears and the Steelers and the officials, Aaron Rodgers, the Packers getting the treatment, all of it. How Justin Fields looked, all of it tomorrow night with special guests. Former Bears quarterback and teammate makes his return, Eric Kramer and Mark Schofield, both jumping on, breaking down what I thought clearly was Justin Fields' breakout moment. It got robbed in that moment by Mr. Tony Karenti and his crew. And, the Steelers get paid too. It was a great game, an exciting game. Unfortunately, it ended like that. So we'll be breaking all that down. But next week we'll be back. Watch the games, study the games, give Chris a follow Also, check out Chris Zorich's podcast and follow and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Just punch in Chris Zorich. Subscribe. It's right there on the YouTube, as well as his podcast, the Chris Zorich Podcast. He's always having some amazing guests and some conversations. So check that out. Chris, for Chris Zorich, I'm your guy, Draft Dr. Phil. Chris, I love you.
DDP, love you, bro.
We'll be talking. Hopefully, we'll set it up where, Chris, you'll be jumping on, breaking down defensive tackles.
Uh-oh, watch out.
All right, let's do that. God bless you guys. We'll see you back next week here on where, Chris?
The Super 16 Poll Show.
Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.